Have you ever been lying awake late at night in that deep, quiet darkness and heard something that just shouldn't be there? Tonight, we're diving into a story that has puzzled and spooked communities for decades. A mystery that echoes through the stillness of the night. It's the story of a train whistle, but there's a catch. There's no train and no tracks. Imagine this. It's 3 in the morning. The world is asleep. Suddenly, a sound cuts through the silence. It's not a car, not an animal. It's the long, mournful cry of a steam locomotive. A sound straight out of a bygone era. Hoo-hoo. It's a sound filled with history and nostalgia. But here, it's filled with dread. Because everyone in town knows the nearest railway line was torn up 50 years ago. There are no active tracks for miles in any direction. This isn't just a one-time occurrence. For generations, people in certain towns across the country have reported this same phantom phenomenon. The reports are eerily consistent. The sound almost always appears in the dead of night or the hazy hours just before dawn. It's a time when our senses are heightened, when the line between what's real and what's imagined feels thin. What makes this truly unsettling is the nature of the sound itself. Witnesses describe it with uncanny similarity. It's not the modern horn of a diesel engine. It's the deep, resonant, and sometimes almost sorrowful whistle of an old steam train. You can almost picture the billows of smoke and the powerful chugging of the engine, even though you know it isn't there. It's a ghost of the industrial age, an auditory spectre in our modern world. The phenomenon also follows a strange, almost ritualistic pattern. Many locals claim it happens at the exact same time, night after night, or week after week. It's like a spectral train running on a schedule, only it understands. Some say you can set your watch by it. This predictability adds a layer of intentionality to the mystery. It's not just a random noise. It feels like something is trying to make its presence known, following a path that no longer exists in our physical world. The stories have been passed down through families. Grandparents tell their grandchildren about hearing the same whistle when they were young. It has become a part of the local folklore, a shared secret that binds the community. Newcomers are often initiated into the town's lore when they, too, are woken by the phantom train. They'll ask their neighbors, "Did you hear that train last night?" and receive a knowing smile and a story that goes back decades. One of the most perplexing details is the complete lack of physical evidence beyond the sound itself. When a real train passes, you feel it. There's a subtle vibration in the ground, a rumble that you sense in your bones. But with this phantom train, there's nothing. The glasses on the shelf don't rattle. The floor doesn't shake. It's a purely auditory experience, existing only in the air and in the minds of those who hear it. This absence of physical sensation makes the sound even more ghostly, as if it's traveling through a different plane of existence. Naturally, in our age of technology, people have tried to capture it, and they have. Numerous audio recordings exist of the phantom train whistle. You can go online and listen to them yourself. The sound is clear, unmistakable. But here's where it gets even stranger. While the microphones pick up the whistle loud and clear, attempts to triangulate the source have all failed. Investigators with sophisticated audio equipment have tried to pinpoint its origin, but the sound seems to be everywhere and nowhere at once. It doesn't follow the normal rules of acoustics. It just is. Another bizarre characteristic is how the sound disappears. A normal train whistle fades as it moves away, the sound stretching and diminishing until it's gone. But this whistle doesn't fade. It blows its mournful call, hangs in the air for a moment, and then abruptly cuts off. It's as if the train and its sound simply vanish into thin air. 1 second it's there, filling the night with its presence, and the next there's only silence. This sudden departure is one of the most chilling aspects of the tale. So, where does this sound come from? What could possibly explain a train whistle with no train? The most popular and romantic theory ties the sound to a historical tragedy. In many of the towns where the whistle is heard, there's a local legend of a terrible train wreck that happened long ago. The stories often involve a fatal accident that occurred on the old rail line, a catastrophic event that left an indelible mark on the area. One common version of the legend speaks of a passenger train that derailed on a stormy night, a tragic accident where many lives were lost. The phantom whistle, they say, is an echo of that fateful night, the train's final cry replaying over and over again. It's a residual haunting, a moment of intense energy and emotion so powerful that it imprinted itself onto the environment, forever looping through time. It's the sound of souls who don't yet know they're gone, still trying to complete their journey. Another variation of this theory is more personal. It tells the story of a specific railway worker, perhaps the engineer or the brakeman, who died in the line of duty. In these tales, the whistle is a ghostly tribute from a dedicated spirit still trying to do his job, signaling a crossing that no longer exists, or warning of a danger long past. His loyalty and his tragic end have tied his spirit to the path he once traveled. Of course, skeptics and scientists have proposed more rational explanations. One idea is that the sound is a type of auditory illusion. They suggest that under certain atmospheric conditions, sound can travel for incredibly long distances. A train whistle from a rail line 50 or even 100 miles away could be bent and channeled by temperature inversions in the atmosphere, making it seem much closer than it actually is. This would explain why it's heard only at night or early morning, when these conditions are more common. This theory could also explain the lack of ground vibration and the difficulty in pinpointing the source. If the sound is traveling through the upper atmosphere and then refracting down, it would arrive without the associated ground tremors. It would seem to come from the sky itself. Another scientific theory involves industrial sources. Could the sound be a byproduct of a distant factory, a mine, or some other industrial process? A pressure release valve, for example, could create a sound that, when carried over a long distance and distorted by the environment, might be mistaken for a train whistle. However, this doesn't fully explain the steam train quality of the sound or its adherence to a strict, predictable schedule. It also doesn't account for why the phenomenon is localized to specific areas, often with a history of railroads. But these logical explanations don't satisfy everyone. For those who have heard the whistle, who have felt that chill run down their spine in the middle of the night. It feels like something more. It feels personal. It feels supernatural. The science can't quite capture the eerie, time-bending quality of the experience. It doesn't explain the emotional weight of the sound, the sense of sorrow and longing that so many people report feeling when they hear it. The mystery of the phantom train whistle is a perfect urban legend because it sits right on the edge of belief and disbelief. It's just plausible enough to be real, but just strange enough to be a ghost story. It taps into our collective memory of a time when the steam train was the lifeblood of the nation, connecting towns and carrying people toward their futures. The sound is a powerful symbol of progress and adventure, but also of loss and the passage of time. Perhaps the whistle is a reminder that the past is never truly gone. The old tracks may be torn up, covered by roads and houses, but the energy of what happened there remains. The countless journeys, the greetings, the farewells, the daily toil, and the rare, terrible tragedies, all of that energy might linger in some way we don't yet understand. The phantom train might be a literal ghost, or it might be a ghost in our collective memory. A story we tell ourselves to connect with a history that we can no longer see, but can still on a quiet night hear. So, the next time you find yourself awake in the deep, silent hours, listen closely. Listen past the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of the clock. You might just hear it, a long, lonely whistle blowing in the dark. And you'll have to ask yourself, is it just the wind, a trick of the atmosphere, or is it a spectral journey? A train of ghosts passing through the night on a track that exists only in memory. The train whistle with no train remains unexplained, a haunting and beautiful mystery echoing from the past into our present. What do you think it is? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating mysteries. Stay curious and listen to the night.